Welcome to the IREL podcast. Are you sick and tired of real estate gurus pitching their next free construction deal, only to find out years later they were completely wrong? Worried the next overseas conference you spend thousands to attend will only be used to sell overpriced lots and deserted developments? Join thousands of other international real estate seekers who are looking for their place in paradise without the sales pitch. Straight from your host, Taylor White.
Hey, real estate seeker. Welcome to the Overseas Property Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Taylor White. I am proud to say this episode is brought to your earbuds courtesy of my friends at eVoice. Local and toll-free numbers, 24/7 auto attendance, call routing, voicemail transcriptions, conference calling, and much more. The best part? Listeners of this podcast get 1 month absolutely free. Head on over to irelpodcast.com/evoice for more details. We hear from one of our most connected insiders yet when I sit down and speak with Samantha de la Fuente, who is living overseas in Mexico City, Mexico, owns a website and online marketing company, and has been featured in the New York Times and was recently voted Bruin of the Day by her alma mater, UCLA. Samantha goes into further details on why she left the U.S., reasons why she lives in Mexico City, travel hacks on getting back to the States, and much more. Instead of telling you more, let's join Samantha from Mexico City. What's going on, Samantha? It's Taylor White. I'm excited to have you on the podcast straight from Mexico City, Mexico, so we can get to know you personally. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Hi, well, I'm Samantha de la Fuente. I am originally from San Diego. I've been living here in Mexico City for about 4 years. Before living in Mexico City, I was actually in LA, and Mexico City has actually really grown on me. I really love it here. I think it's a great place to live, especially for expats.
Shut up. I am also from San Diego. I knew that we had a special connection, Samantha.
Wait, what part of San Diego?
I grew up in northern, I guess North County. So like Vista, Carlsbad, San Marcos area.
Awesome. My family still lives in Carlsbad.
Wow, love it. So I know something special about you. You went to UCLA and you are going to be Bruin of the Day. Talk a little bit more about that.
So I was selected as Bruin of the Day because I think of my entrepreneurial spirit. I currently co-own a web development company, IXI Studio, here in Mexico City, where we do custom web developments for clients in the US, Europe, and of course in Mexico. And earlier this year, I was in the New York Times, and I think somebody saw me and suggested that I be selected. So I'm excited about that, and I just need to work on what picture I want to send them, and then I should be up there pretty soon.
That's awesome. And of course, it's at IXIstudio.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then what are some of the services that you guys offer?
So custom web development and email marketing, hosting, emails. We pretty much we offer comprehensive packages. So we actually also do SEO and SEM. And it's great because we can work with US clients here in Mexico, and also we can work in Spanish here. So we're pretty flexible.
So talk to me, Samantha. I'm going to ask a question. I probably already know the answer, but do you speak Spanish fluently as well?
I do. I do speak Spanish fluently. I was actually born in Mexico, and my mom's from New York and my dad's from Mexico City. And so Spanish is technically my first language, but I moved to San Diego at a young age.
So I'm checking out your Facebook page, and I know that you've done some exciting things lately, maybe like, I think it's South by Southwest, and then you also had something kind of like that in Mexico. What have you been doing recently?
Actually, I participated in Startup Bus, which is this entrepreneurial program where you're selected from, if you're a business person, or you basically have to work in the tech field, in the web tech field or web apps. And I was selected to represent Mexico in the Startup Bus Mexico. And what it is we get on this bus with 40 people that you don't know, and we all have to pitch an idea about what kind of company we want to start. And then we drive to San Antonio, Texas, where we compete among 6 other buses in the US. And we were in the Iraq space, and Guy Kawasaki was there. It was really intense 3 days of entrepreneurship and just hacking away. And then of course we from there moseyed on over to South by Southwest, where we kind of cooled off with some Facebook parties and Spotify parties.
How awesome is that? And of course, the question that I have next is, did your bus win or did you guys place pretty high?
So in the Mexico bus, there was 8 companies that developed. One of the Mexican companies was actually called Bridgeify, and they placed number 2.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, no, and they're all really excited about it. What it is, it's an application that allows you to send messages to cell phones within 300 feet without needing Wi-Fi or cell connection. So it's great in concert venues or when there's like a natural disaster. So it's a really great technology, and it's being developed right here in Mexico City.
So, Samantha, I can tell by talking to you, you've been to a lot of great places, Mexico City, Texas, LA. Talk about some of the places that you've been worldwide.
So I had the opportunity to study abroad in Italy. It was really great experience. I studied in Venice. So I've been there. I've also been to France a couple times, Spain, Portugal, Switzerland. And yeah, no, I love traveling. Oh, I've also been to Panama. Panama was great. I did tourism there with the Embera Peru tribe, and that was a lot of fun.
Of course, I know Panama well. What are some of the favorite spots that you've been? I know that a lot of those you can find things that you love, but what are some of the favorite spots that you've been so far?
Well, I think some of my favorite spots are definitely here in Mexico. The beaches here are incredible, and they're really affordable, and they're just really accessible. And so I'd have to say Cancun, or actually I like Playa del Carmen. Like Playa del Carmen is like a great place for like expats, and just offers like a lot of things to do. Of course, I love San Diego. I think it's a great place to be as well. San Francisco as well. I really like traveling, so
So it
uh,
sounds like you like to travel and you can find the good in any place that you go.
yes.
So then I have to ask, why are you based now in Mexico City?
Well, Mexico City, I really think presents like a lot of opportunities. I talk to people all the time about me living in Mexico, and I think I pretty much sum it down to a couple of things. I feel like in Mexico City is such a concentrated city that I think I live twice as much as I do as if I lived in LA or San Diego. And it's pretty much because I don't have to depend on a car. I don't have to incorporate myself into like the traffic lifestyle. So I've been able to organize my life with just, you know, a couple miles, organize all the things I do on a daily basis. So I get to work a lot. I get to ride my bike everywhere I go. I get to go to my dance classes. I get to be a part of different clubs here. So I think that's one of them. And then the second one, I think access to food, to healthy food here is way more affordable than it is in the US. I always talk about how I drink these liter of juices that are about 30 pesos, which is about like $2.70. And in the US, when I'm in Carlsbad, they don't even offer the option of a liter of juice. It's really about like 12 ounces. And I think depending on the juice, it's about 7 to $12. So I think access to food here, healthy food, organic food is way easier. And then the third is because I'm in Mexico, I think it'd be a lot harder for me to own a web development company in San Diego with the kind of costs involved. Rent is a lot more affordable, employees, salaries are more affordable, and overall business models here are just, I think, quicker to set up and, you know, function and kind of test it out.
So, Samantha, we have listeners from over 54 countries, and one of the things, unfortunately, that we hear about for Mexico is safety. Can you speak a little bit more about safety for you in Mexico City?
Of course. Well, like any other city, I think safety is an issue. Ironically enough, Mexico City is actually probably the safest city in Mexico at this moment. There've been all sorts of initiatives to kind of combat crime, and they've all worked out. In the 4 years I've lived here, nothing's happened. And actually, when I lived in LA and I was in college and I have a minor in urban planning, and I always say that I feel way safer in Mexico City than I did sometimes in LA.
So do you consider yourself right now like a resident? Do you still kind of think of yourself as a tourist? How do you see yourself right now in Mexico City?
I consider myself a resident, but also I kind of consider myself still a resident of San Diego or Southern California. And it's because flights here are so affordable if you plan in advance that I get to go home quite often. So I just fly into Tijuana across the border and I'm a jump and a hop away from seeing my
Okay,
family.
so then, since you brought it up, why don't we talk about a few travel hacking tips? As I know that you travel quite a bit, and flying into Tijuana, crossing the border, you probably take a taxi from the airport, go to the border, walk across the border, and then someone picks you up, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. So speak some more about maybe flying quite often. Do you have any tips as far as airfare or maybe using credit cards to get miles or certain airlines that you might use?
Of course. My favorite airline is Volaris.com. It's a Mexican airline that's new and has just great services. You can pay in dollar and in peso. And basically once a year, or no, they have all sorts of discounts all the time, but once a year they do 70% off on their anniversary, which is March 12th. So I usually plan, to be online that day and just buy a bunch of different tickets. And I can get round trips to Tijuana for 2,000 pesos, which is about $170. I'm sorry, no, 2,000 pesos. Yeah, $170 round trip, which is just great. And sometimes you can get cheaper flights. Sometimes there's flights for about $50 to go to Tijuana. And
That's
so,
crazy. Does that include taxes, fees,
yes,
all that
yes,
stuff?
yes, it does. So so one of my travel tips is if you book ahead in advance with that airline, 6 months in advance, it's way cheaper. I flew to Cancun last year for a salsa congress for $150 round trip from Mexico City to Cancun.
Okay, Samantha, what about banking? I know that you live in Mexico, you go to the States frequently. What might someone do as far as banking? Would you recommend keeping a bank account in the US? Do you recommend opening a bank account in Mexico? That kind of thing.
Well, I do both. And in terms of banking, I would recommend if you have access to Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo has a relationship with one of the banks here, Banamex, and in order to withdraw cash, like from a U.S. card in a Mexican bank, and with Banamex, it's only a 32 peso fee, which is actually I think it's the cheapest transaction fee available. And you could also open up a bank account. Bancomed is one of the biggest banks here, and they offer these express cards which you can basically just with a photo ID open up a bank account, and a photo ID and 100 pesos open up a bank account.
So, Samantha, we want to come visit you sometime in Mexico City. What would be some things that you might recommend that we pack with us?
That you pack comfortable shoes because you're probably going to walk a ton. Also, let me see. I think just the basics. The thing is with Mexico City, well, another thing that's great about Mexico City, unlike other cities, it doesn't really have extreme weather. It doesn't snow, it doesn't rain that often. It's like the San Diego version of a city. And so you get this great weather. So actually, in May, from May to June, it does rain. So if you're flying around or if you're traveling here during those times, definitely pack, some rain boots and an umbrella. But other than that, it's pretty relaxed, just regular stuff, sunscreen, comfortable shoes, a jacket, digital camera.
So, Samantha, it sounds like you have a lot of fun and you get to go to a lot of great places. How can you still run your business from anywhere that you go?
So fortunately, I work in web development, so everything's pretty much online. I'm able to talk, well, with most of my clients, for instance, in the US, they already know I'm in Mexico. And so it's really if whether I'm in a different part of Mexico, whether I'm in the US, doesn't really make a difference as long as I keep turning in my stuff on time. So I have some project managers, online project managers that we use, and I also have cloud accounting system, which allow me to access all my most important information from wherever I am.
So, Samantha, Mexico City is a very large city. Maybe mention some parts of the city that you think are great that people might want to take advantage of.
Okay. Well, I live in Roma, and Roma is considered like the hipster, artsy area in Mexico City, and I love it there. Eating out is great, a lot of fun, and also Roma and Condesa are all easy to get around with EcoBC. EcoBC is this the public transportation for the individual. There are these stations where you can just, when you pick up a bike and you can ride it to the next station. And so I would definitely, I think they'd allow for international travels to buy like a 7-day pass. But if you're living here, it's super affordable. It's 400 pesos a year to use it unlimited amount of times for,
Oh, that's
well,
crazy.
yeah, no, I'm telling you, like, I, if you're, I've been able to just kind of, organize my life where everything's just like really efficient and it's fast and it's affordable, and I think my quality of life has improved from LA, traffic of 4-hour, commutes to San Diego or wherever. So
So, we're on the ground. We are in Mexico City. What are some good strategies to find a place to live?
some good strategies. I would definitely check. So Craigslist isn't as popular as it is in the US, but I still use it a lot because I think it's great for meeting other expats. So craigslist.com.mx is a place where when I first moved here, I found a place, and it was actually with a bunch of other Mexican girls, and we we just had a lot of things in common in terms of lifestyle and culture. And so we, I think that's one place you to look up. Rent is affordable. I think the key areas for people to live are usually in the centro, which consists of Roma, Condesa, Del Valle, Narvarte, Polanco.
And then, Samantha, maybe talk to me. I know that you're not a real estate expert, but maybe talk to me about some example prices for rent.
So it really depends on, there's huge differences in rent in terms of what colonia you're in. And so the more expensive colonias happen to be also the one where the most foreigners live in, which is Condesa and Roma and Polanco. But I think if, when I say expensive, and it also depends on what you want. But for instance, you can find in Roma or Condesa, probably a 3-bedroom apartment in an older building for about 15,000 pesos, including utilities. And if you want to, I mean, things can get actually really expensive and things can get a lot cheaper. I previously lived in an apartment in Narvarte, which was also 3 bedrooms, and it was for 7,500 pesos. So, and it was huge, but it's not too far away, but it's not exactly in the middle where everybody is.
So, if we're in Mexico City, do you think it helps to be bilingual? Do you need to speak Spanish fluently? Can you get by just conversationally or like taco stand style? What do you need to do as far as the language is concerned?
I think getting to know the basics is always important, and if you can, like, a little bit more, but I actually have some expert friends that have lived here for a couple years, and they're still trying to learn Spanish, and that's kind of unfortunate. And but they've gone by, and it's not like France where you're frowned upon if you don't know if you
Right.
can't say everything in perfect Spanish. I think everyone here is really nice, really appreciates if you try, and a lot of people here speak English. A lot of people here, even if it's a taxi driver, or even taxi drivers' English happens to be even better than somebody in an office because, they lived in the US for 15 years and decided to come back to Mexico for whatever reason.
So, Samantha, before I let you go, I wanted to hit up what are some of your favorite places to go or restaurants or nightlife, that kind of thing that you enjoy on the weekends?
My favorite places. I love, what are some, there's this restaurant. Do you want like specific names?
Sure, why not?
Okay. So there's this one restaurant that offers like small Mexican snacks in Roma, and it's called Parnita. It's hipsterville completely, and it's always really packed, but it's really great. Another place I like to go to, which offers probably the best coffee in Mexico City, it's called Rococo, and that's in Condesa. And in terms of going out, there's this great art cinema place, and also in Roma, called Cine Tonalá, which always shows artsy kind of alternative movies. And I find that place. And they also have a restaurant to be really fun to go to.
Love it, Samantha. We're right about time, but what are maybe some final pointers or tips that you might want to share about life in Mexico City?
Overall, I think just mention again the public transportation on bikes, which is great. Also the ability to like organize everything according or in a very small kind of space.
And of course, have tons of fun and meet like-minded people, right?
Oh, yeah. No, actually, Internations is really popular here. Internations.org. They have meetups, I think, probably 3 times a week, and it's really easy to meet people that are also expats, and some people that aren't expats, but I've lived in other countries. So that's one thing where I've met a lot of fun, easygoing people, and yeah, I think those are my overall tips.
Love it, Samantha. What are some great ways to follow you and what you do?
You can check out my website, IXIstudio.com. That's IXISTUDIO.com. Also, my Twitter handle is also IXIstudio, and email info@IXIstudio.com.
Awesome, Samantha. Thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
I want to thank Samantha once again for giving us her take on what overseas living is like in Mexico City, and look forward to following her journey as she continues to run her portable business from anywhere she has a Wi-Fi connection. You can head on over to our site for complete show notes, easy ways to follow Samantha, and more information about her company's website and online marketing company. And don't forget, if you are on the road as much as Samantha is, you need a great way to route all of your personal and business calls to one number wherever you may be. Head on over to irelpodcast.com/evoice and open your account right now and enjoy 1 month completely free for listening to this podcast. That's irelpodcast.com/evoice to get started.
You have been listening to the IREL Podcast with Taylor White. Be sure to hit up irelpodcast.com for more. That's irelpodcast.com. Thanks for listening.